Welcome, everyone, to the Bad Boys Revival, a Pistons podcast. All of your Detroit Pistons content, past, present, and future, right here with your boys, Del and Pinky.
Right now.
Shout out to my boy, Jake Fantastic.
Lighting and sound.
Out there in Mount Morris, providing all the wonderful locally represented coasters you see here tonight. We got the beautiful Mitten here. However the hell there you go. The Mitten, and then we got the Tigers who, they're on the come up. We got Spencer Torkelson. He's making it happen.
He's stroking right now.
Okay, so, starting from the beginning, man, I got to say that looking at a lot of these stats from last year, it looks like we're really just banking on the development of players, kind of combined with Cade coming back and a new coaching staff, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what everybody's been leaning on, right? The Cade being hurt, not having the right coaching staff in right now.
I mean, at least that. I mean, because we're not bringing in Monty Morris and Joe Harrison saying, "Oh, we're going to the top now."
Yeah,
that's not how.
No, it's not how it's working.
That's not how it's going to work. So we're kind of banking on the fact that Monty's going to bring in his coaching staff that's been kind of used to winning and competing at the highest level for the past few years, to a team that really just needs help figuring out how the hell to win in general. Forget about winning at the highest level.
Gelling and developing.
I mean, I think the gelling and developing thing is like Monty's going to come in and say, okay, that shit's over now. You're in your second year. I don't want to hear about it. You were a top 5 pick. We're ready to start competing. Like, there's no way.
Well, we're not competing this year, dude. Not in my opinion.
We're not competing at a high level, but I think he's going to try to make them feel like they are.
Well, I mean, I think that's the goal of every coach.
Because you can't make them feel like they're gonna he's gonna accept the mediocrity. I just don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, no, you can't. You can't do. I mean, the fans are not going to take that anymore. I mean, I was over it halfway through the year last year.
Like, it's going to start with like a 10-game losing streak. That's where it's all going to kind of start from. Even a 5 to 6 game losing streak, it's going to kind of.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, because I mean, at the beginning of the season, everybody's still trying to get the legs underneath them, stuff like that. A bad team can beat a good team anytime during the beginning of the season. It's really when teams start rolling and they have that chemistry going. That's when you're really going to be like, there's the 10-game losing streak.
So where do you see the most chemistry coming from?
I think Cade naturally is just going to have chemistry with everybody, but I'd really like to see it with Jalen Duren more so than anybody.
I think they've been working really hard, and honestly, I'm actually the least concerned about that, because that looks like it's the most promising.
Well, that's what I want. You know what I mean?
I want that to be among the top 5 things in the league. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, what I'm looking for most to develop is how Ivy's going to develop playing next to Cade now that he's not going to have the ball in his hands all the time.
Right.
Also, Osser, see how Monty uses him. I'd like to see how well he moves without the ball, playing with Cade, and how Cade can find him.
Well, Jaden Ivey,
or even Jaden Ivey at that. For that matter.
Jaden Ivey is really he seems to be the person that we don't really know what to do with him, right? Because if he's going to
to a certain degree,
if he's going to come in and he's going to do what he's supposed to be really good at, and we're not going to have a ton of success at that, but eventually we move him to this point guard role where he's a great passer now, and he's still finishing really well, but he starts shooting better towards the end of the season, and it's all coming from a point of him being able to be a distributor. Yeah. But now you're going to move into a new place, and now you're going to bring in another new guy. So you got 2 guys at new roles. Forget about the fact that Jalen Duren's only in his second year.
And 19 years old.
I
always got to say that.
It makes more sense in a lot of cases to start Bojan, I think, because you're going to have this can Jaden score at that level? But also we know Bojan can. Yeah. And he is quite possibly our best shooter.
Well, that's why that's where you got to make the argument for Osser to start at the 3. And if Bojan's going to start at the 4.
I saw today that there was like an argument for him to start, and I thought, okay, well, I thought this was a foregone conclusion.
Well, I mean, in our opinions, yeah. I mean, we've talked about it numerous times. We've actually fantasized about it in different kind of lineups with, we'll get into that at, later time of day.
In a lot of cases, I'm like, I'm not even going to entertain the fact that he's not starting.
Yeah. So if you put Osser in a lineup with Bojan, you're able to hide Bojan, a lot. If you have Osser out there instead of throwing out like somebody that has slow feet at the 4, because we don't have really a 4
for sure. And I think that Osser he's gonna be able to fit in kind of wherever you put him. I think that like if you're gonna concern yourself with what he's gonna do, I think you shouldn't. Like as far as Monty's, coaching staff's concerned.
I think this year he's gonna be asked to come out and play defense. He's not gonna ask to really score much. Just move without the ball, take advantage of opportunities that come his way. So that's basically how I see that going. Take the open shot if it's there.
With Osser?
Yeah. Yeah.
And with Ivy, I mean, it's really just kind of finding your own. I think he's got to find his own way, because if he doesn't, there's an unpopular opinion you might have that is essentially somebody, or there's an unpopular opinion you have about Jaden Ivey possibly moving to the bench, and I'm not a fan of that, but I think that you see a different side of it, like James Harden type off the bench guy.
I'm not saying move him to the bench. I'm just saying, would I like to see him come off the bench and to see what kind of spark plug he is? Absolutely.
This early in his career, though, I think that kind of would kill his confidence, don't you think?
There's that potential to happen, but I think he's a strong-willed guy.
It's a big risk.
While his mom's a coach, he's been around basketball his whole life. He should understand the ebb and flow of a good team, or a team trying to be good.
I think if he struggles in the first 3 to 4 weeks, then I think that's a possibility. But I think he's going to get the start.
Well, I do too.
Regardless.
I mean, realistically thinking, yes.
And I just don't want to. I wouldn't want to take the risk of killing his confidence, because. Like, that's kind of like what these guys live and die on.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but I think Ivy would be a great spark plug off the bench. You play Osser at the 2, put Bojan at the 3. You start Stu at the 4 along with Duran, and then you have ultimate ability to hide Bojan. And then you have a pretty good defensive team, and that's where we sucked ass last year.
Well, I think Bojan comes well off the bench. That's what he was doing back in Utah before we got him.
That's totally an option too. I mean, there's so many different directions we can go with this team,
right?
Because we were bad, so we have this notion that we could have multiple different lineups and probably have the same amount of output, and maybe just
fair enough,
For lack of better words, throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks.
And like we've been talking about, like if you put Burks, Joe Harris, and Bojan all off the bench, then you have your 3 best shooters essentially coming off the bench.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's a responsible way to handle it, but it would sure be interesting to see how that lineup fares out, because I mean, nothing's really consistent in the NBA. Like and then just like in the NFL, you game plan differently, and like there's different situations that happen where you're foul trouble. So there's no
so
way
much
you can.
Circumstantial
There's so many
stuff.
right. There's so many variables that can affect the idea of, well, this lineup should do that. So I don't want to go into like those 3 guys should have the best scoring offense coming off the bench in the league, but
right.
They both all shoot between 38 and 43% from 3-point.
Right.
And that's pretty damn good. That also hides Killian's bad offense. If, by the way, we do get stuck with him, which, by the way,
I don't think he's
going through these lineups. We really just kind of discovered something interesting, and that is, if we're starting Duran and Bojan, right, sake of argument, then you got Wiseman and Stewart coming off the bench, right?
Right.
So that leaves Marvin Bagley to.
He's going to be that last big off the bench, basically.
Or Wiseman. Either Stu's going to move back to
Wiseman,
5.
Yeah.
I don't know who the odd man out is, but somebody is the odd man out here. And with Killian being on the market, I promise you that he's been trying to ship both of these guys out of here.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get both of them. But I think the priority would be Bagley. If you can ship Bagley out of here, because
I want him gone.
Like we appreciate Killian's defense, and we do think that like he shined last year. He made everybody feel like, hey, you know what? I have came around, and then he kind of reverted back. He might have another one of those stints, but longer this year.
Yeah,
I don't see Bagley really fitting into this offense so much as I see Killian kind of being the person I would rather have. I would, if I had my way, I'd get rid of both of them.
Yeah.
But I think that, Marvin Bagley is the odd man out here.
Yeah, I mean, well, we still have roster room. You know what I mean? We still have room on it. So you might not see any of these guys go.
But, I mean, we have a log jam. It's pretty clear, right?
Yeah, we definitely need a wing and a 4.
You're paying Stewart $15 million. You're paying Marvin $12 or $13 million.
Something like that.
Yep, and you're not getting rid of Duran, and you're not getting rid of Bojan.
No.
Or are you?
Well, you might. I mean, to trade that, I think Bojan would be a trade deadline thing. Not necessarily before camp.
But hopefully we're playing well.
But the closer we get to camp, the less likely moves are going to happen. Honestly.
So do you think a trade is likely to happen before the season starts?
I mean, it's hard to say, man. I mean,
well, yeah, it's hard to say.
If it's anybody, it's going to be Killian, I think, honestly.
You think it'd be Killian?
Yeah, because, I mean, a team will value Killian because he may not be a scorer, but he's that dependable ball handler off, the third point guard off the bench for a playoff team. That can hang on to the ball.
So then you'd have to package him with Wiseman I think, because you have to give
Yeah,
them.
you can.
Because you have to get rid of that log jam.
I mean, there's a rumor out there about the Keldon Johnson. Have you saw anything about that?
Not from San Antonio.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah, heck yeah, he's a bucket, man.
Yeah, he is.
You know, so, but yeah, I think the package was like Killian and Wiseman. I know Wiseman for sure, and then a unprotected first round pick, straight up. But I mean, how many first round picks, lottery picks can we have on this team?
But then that's just bringing another power forward. We have a bigger log jam.
Well, he's more of a forward. You know what I mean? He's more of like a wing.
Yeah, I'm not huge on I think Osser's going to have that energy where he's going to be able to play 35 minutes a game.
Well, he's going to have to practice and make it noticeable to where they can't keep him off the floor. You know, like if he's out there causing chaos, you know, and doing what he needs to do, kind of like what he was doing in the Rico runs, is basically just causing chaos,
right.
You know, and just playing nasty defense.
Well, I mean, you're not really playing against fucking the highest quality talent there.
Well, no, absolutely not.
I mean,
but he was doing what he does.
Showing the effort, and it's good to see them really at the end of the day just kind of still trying to gel in the offseason. I think that's the whole point of the Rico runs in general is we want to hoop. Who knows who all of them have been playing with in the offseason.
Right.
You know, everybody has their friends that they hang out with and they train with, and then you have your trainer who then you work and then you go show off that talent with these guys.
Right.
And so I think that's what the Rico runs are about. Is kind of like just shoring up the things you've been working on.
Right.
So you might not even see anything close to what this person is. But I mean, Cade, every time you see tape of Cade, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, he's getting to any spot he wants to get to.
Exactly.
He's hitting that mid-range, no problem, over anybody that's guarding him. And it just he's so methodical with how he moves and timing and positioning with his big, he has a big body. He gets his hip on you, it's pretty much over with.
And he's been putting on a little bit of muscle. You can see
so I mean, he probably gained about 10, 15 pounds probably.
He's like kind of a bucket in general. I don't think there's any way we can say that he should average under 20 points a game this year.
Right. Well, I mean, it's really telling with how he did in that first two select team scrimmages against Team USA, and how he just pretty much controlled everything. But then Jalen Duren was total beneficiary of Cade's play, which is very promising. So,
and he doesn't need to be the beneficiary of anybody.
No,
somebody else could be the beneficiary of his ability to do what he does.
Right, be a freak of nature.
So that's a good combo, I think, in general. And I think no matter who's handling the ball, I think they're going to find a way to get Duren those. I mean, he's going to be the highlight reel.
Yeah. So I mean, and then back to Cade. I think he's just going to quarterback this team very well. You know what I mean? It's not like he went out last year before injury like a hoe. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was averaging 26 and 6. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shit.
Right. It was a small sample size, but still it was like you could see that he had become that player, and with a whole off season, it just kind of like Jordan. I mean, I'm not making the comparison, but that second season where you just you're ready to come into your own, and then boom, your whole season's over.
Yeah. And
granted, K didn't come back for the playoffs.
Yeah, they have him listed as the favorite to win the most improved player award this year. It should be comeback player. Right.
Well, I mean, all he did was get injured and come back, and tons of people do that.
Right. But I mean, how much more? I mean, I could understand most improved player award being the favorite for that if he was kind of like a 12, 4, and 5 guy.
It honestly almost seems like it would be a consolation prize to not winning Rookie of the Year. So on a better note, though, I'm just going to start with the good because there ain't much of it. So the Pistons ranked 10th in offensive rebounds last year.
Which isn't surprising because Jalen Duren is...
Right, he's a man-child.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Do you know who was first?
No.
Come on, just take a guess.
First in offensive rebounding?
Yes.
Whatever team Steven Adams was on.
He didn't play a lot last year, though.
No. How about any team Mitchell Robinson was on?
The Knicks?
Yeah.
Houston Rockets. So apparently,
so Sengun probably is the guy there, right?
Well, my point when I'm looking at this is apparently having a lot of offensive rebounds doesn't necessarily make you a winning team or a competitive team whatsoever at all.
No, but it gives you second chance points.
It does,
or second chance at getting points, I should say.
When that's our best quality out of all the stats I looked at, that's the one thing. And then I look at the number one team, and it's Houston, who was one of the other teams that were as bad as us. Mm-hmm. It tells me that the offensive rebounds doesn't really play that much of a role when you have teams that are taking so many shots a game. Like
that aren't
we
shooting well. It's a well-oiled machine. You got to be.
We're scoring 110 points a game. Mm-hmm. That's 29th in the league.
Bad.
That's incredible, though.
What's the shooting
percentage?
Yeah.
30th.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the numbers are. We're last.
Right. We're bad.
We're bad.
Yeah.
And then, the 29th in field goals made, but 19th in attempts. So we're shooting a lot.
Chucking it.
Yeah. And here's the only other positive thing we can really say is we are 20th in three-pointers made.
Right. Well, our pace sucked last year. You know what I mean? Like we were one of the worst teams in pace last year.
We figured some stuff out, but we never figured out how to win. We just figured out how players could do certain things that they couldn't do before. But that's where K's going to come in this year and like help translate that to wins, because hopefully somebody knows how to actually win.
Quarterback it.
Yes. So yeah, and then 19th in 3-point attempts, but that's not necessarily a good thing. 22nd in 3-point percentage, 21st in free throw percentage at 77.1, so not terrible.
Well, we took a shitload of free throws.
I still don't like that we're still in the bottom half of every single category, even the ones that we're good in other than offensive rebounds. 26th in defensive rebounds, 27th in assists, 20th in steals. 27th in blocks, 25th in turnovers. So we are 16th in opponents' 3-point percentage. So
woo,
we guard the perimeter, still at the bottom half of the league.
Oh, we're in the middle.
Right, but we're in the...
Give us more credit than that.
The bottom half. Like the top half would be 1 through 15, and the bottom half would be 16 through 30.
Yeah, we're bottom half. But it sounds better middle.
The top of the bottom half.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're picking first in the second round. How about?
Fair enough. 26th in opponent's field goal percentage. So we're giving it whatever success we're having in the perimeter. We're giving it up in the paint.
Yeah, I think we had the second worst point differential last year. I think San Antonio was the only one worse than us. But so it's all the proofs in the pudding there. Our defense sucked. Our offense sucked.
Well, if what we're banking on is the development of players, who are we banking on here? Are we banking on the development of Wiseman, or are we banking on the
Duren?
So he's going to play all the minutes, and he's going to guard
Wiseman
all
has
the people.
Obviously, Wiseman has to develop.
If we're going to guard the paint,
Stewart has to develop. So these are. We're banking on people developing. We're young as hell. Our average age is like 20, 23, and that's with Bojan bolstering up our starting lineup. And I take that back. Our average age of our potential starting lineup is 23 years old, and that's with Bojan 33 or something like that, bolstering that up.
Right.
So that tells you anything. You know what I mean? Like
it definitely does. But at the same time, it just seems like we're banking on the development of players that we almost sort of know what they are and what they're going to be. It's really going to come down to coaching.
Well, we don't
can the coaching really get them on the same page?
Well, I think that's definitely an ingredient in this, mixture.
I think it's the biggest. I think it would be the biggest ingredient because
it has to be, because you're banking on these players developing further.
Nobody's going to turn into a top 5 scorer in this league other than Cade, and that wouldn't even really surprise us because we already he's a top.
I don't necessarily think he would be a top 5 scorer. I just think he's going to be that utility knife.
Right.
And smart.
But that means if we're going to be competitive at a high level, then somebody else needs to be one of the top 10 scorers in the league then.
Right, and I think Ivy could maybe be that.
Yeah, he's got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, for sure. He has to learn how to shoot. He has to shoot at a consistent level.
I want to ask you personally, what do you think All-Star is going to do for us?
This year, I think All-Star is just going to be move without the ball, play really good defense. I think he's going to shoot the ball. I think if he's open, he's going to shoot it. I think that's going to be.
I don't think he's going to be on the scouting report as a crazy shooter, so people aren't going to be looking for him to shoot.
No.
He'll be shooting wide open shots.
Right. He's probably going to be a third or fourth option around the perimeter, but there's probably going to be drawn up plays for him where he's cutting to the hoop. Probably running the baselines and stuff like that. But I think he's going to make a lot of money off offensive rebounds, putbacks, stuff like that.
What about defensively?
Well, defensively, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be able to switch 1 through 4 probably in certain lineups. So
his energy level and his vertical.
Yeah, he's
going to make
a
him
very good athlete.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem in the paint defensively. I think on the perimeter.
Well, I don't know necessarily in the paint, but
because of his vertical, I think.
He's such a fast jumper that he's going to give shooters fits. Like you're not if you're a shooter on an opposing team, you're going to have offs around you, and it's going to be a problem. We saw that in Summer League. If you don't have a quick trigger, man, he's getting it.
Right.
It's just what's happening. It seems like he gets his hand on every pass. I think him and Killian on the floor at the same time would give people absolute hell. It'd probably remind us of Lindsey Hunter and Mike James.
Oh, stop it.
No, seriously.
Yeah, but that means Offstar could be coming off the bench. But I mean, at some point you'll see both of them.
You know what I'm
there.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying the exact same thing, but
So a little off topic here, but James Harden got offered $900 million from the Saudi investment fund to play for their league. I mean, it's probably not competitive whatsoever, and he would absolutely dominate. Just like a lot of players go out to China and they're playing and they dominate. That's fine. It's really no different to me whether you go to China or the Saudi league. If you're making $900 million, good for you, James Harden. You basically made tons of money your entire career. Like he said the other day, I've never missed the playoffs in my career. I've been hard on James Harden my whole life, and for good reason, because he disappears in the playoffs, he ball hogs, and he creates a team around him in the season. So when the playoffs come, nobody is prepared to actually play some of these great teams that actually have good coaches and can iron out all these details about how to defend this person. And they shut down James Harden. And then it's really easy. You shut down James Harden, that whole team can't beat you. So he's and that's kind of where I live with James Harden. But I do appreciate his talent and how great he was. He can average, 6 points a game?
6 points, yeah.
Incredible.
I think it was the highest since Jordan.
Yeah, incredible to me. Like in this day and age, and some of the numbers he has are, irrefutable. So I don't want to take away from it, but bye.
Later. I'd take the money.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm out of
the
here.
NBA would be any worse or better off without you. So do whatever you have to do for yourself. I know he's not watching this. You don't give a shit about some random
he doesn't care.
dude out in Nowheresville, Michigan. But
Right.
I just think that, do you think he should take the deal? Because I think he should.
Well, yeah, of course.
You always have basically
I would
paid for
take
the
the
money
deal.
and for the love of the game anyways. You might as well go show that league how to play, and maybe the next person that goes to the Saudi league won't think twice about it.
Well, that's like the live golfers, man. I don't blame them at all for taking that money.
Hey,
And now look what happened. The live and PGA, basically merged. So, good for them.
yep, lots of money makes a huge difference in your life, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I feel any different about that.
Right.
So the schedule came out.
Yeah. Yeah. Seen that.
League high 15 back-to-backs. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that tell
a
you?
lot of them against tough teams.
What does that tell you about how the league thinks about us?
Oh, we're just a doormat for good teams to get wins.
It's we're going to have to earn our way to the top anyway.
Yeah.
It's Detroit versus everybody around here. We
For-
don't
for
ever get
every
any,
sport, really.
We don't get any breaks at all. There's no breaks.
No.
Whether it's the Lions and the Calvin Johnson, the falling to the ground and maintaining possession, the whatever catch rule. From that to every single situation that I can't even bring up because I shut it out of my memory on purpose because it's horrible. But we basically have to earn every little thing we got, which
sure.
is kind of like perfect because that's what we have to do to even make it around here.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a lot of people, that's kind of how like the whole mantra is in this town is work hard, work harder, but play harder. We do.
I think we'd be okay though because we're a young team. We're not really expected to do much this year. What is our bar? 30 wins.
But what do you think Monty's expecting? Forget about the league's expectations.
Well, Monty's going to expect to be a playoff team. Monty's going to expect this team to be the best it can be, and that should be every coach's approach.
Well, then that's what matters the most to me because I don't give a shit what half the people in this or 95% of the people in this state think about the team because they're usually wrong about it. They're usually just there for the entertainment value, but the people that are watching this video or watching or listening to this or whatever are the people that actually have a brain and understand how the game is working. And I think that essentially we just want a coach that is going to demand that high level performance because I don't think Dwayne Casey ever did.
Well, no, it's Mr. Just keep doing what you're doing. Meanwhile, he has, Killian has 6 turnovers, or not Killian, but Jaden Ivey has 6 turnovers. Killian is shooting 2 for 15.
If Jaden has 6 turnovers in a game and he has to get pulled for the whole game to teach him a damn lesson, and Killian goes out there and shows him how to take care of the rock, and then he has 20 straight games without more than 2 turnovers, then that's a coach doing his job.
Correct.
And I think that we might see that a little bit this year because we still have a really young team. But
I hope so.
But the 15 back-to-backs, just they kind of Like, man, that's
It's quite a
uncool.
few.
And as we're checking it out, the first back-to-back we have is Portland, I believe, at home, and then we go to New Orleans the next day. That is November 1st and November 2nd. So not even 2 weeks into the season,
Right.
we're already doing that. And by the way, the second, we have 2 days off after that, and then we come back November 5th and 6th and have another back-to-back. By who? The Phoenix
Warriors.
Suns and the Warriors, but
Right.
that's at home. So I don't know if that's supposed to make us feel better.
I mean, really, we're young. We're a young team. And when I was young, I could play basketball for 5 hours every freaking day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure these guys' mentality is the same way, unless you're not feeling good. That's the only way I could see to where it might be kind of shaky. And if this was an older team. But it's a young team. And I know when I was in between 19 and 25, I was hooping all the time.
I mean,
or working my ass off.
That's a
every
good point, but it's still like I think by the end of the season, if we are going to make the playoffs or if it's anything like that, we're going to be really tired.
I don't disagree with you. Definitely our veterans.
Like I don't know if Monty's making them like run full on suicides all season long just to make sure that they're in shape, but I just don't think so. But I mean, I think if you're going to get tickets to these games and you want to see some high quality players, that's your best bet right there. November 5th and 6th, because
That's probably when we should go.
there's not load management that early in the season.
No.
You know, so I think that's going to be one of those. You know, if you wait till later on the season, you might see Phoenix without Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, or without Steph Curry or Clay or somebody. They might be resting somebody. So
Yeah.
I think you'll try to see all these teams want to get their teams in, suited up full and running out their regular five right at the beginning of the season. And I think that might be the best bet. So, and you're probably right. If we're going to get tickets, that's probably the best time to go.
Yeah, that's probably.
So stay tuned for November 5th and 6th for back-to-back games.
Right, see what's going on.
Other ones I noticed were 15th and 16th of December, which is the 76ers and the Bucks. So they're not
More tough teams.
They're not sparing any expense the first half of the season on the quality of competition.
Right.
I mean, 4 of these 6 back-to-backs are possible conference finals teams.
Yeah.
And I
Without
mean,
doubt.
honestly, if you add the Pelicans, if Zion plays anything like he's looking on these photos where he looks just like
Jacked.
yeah, he looks like a problem coming
Yeah,
up.
he's jacked.
And we already knew he was a problem anyways when he was out of shape.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
huge problem.
I mean, the only question with him is his availability.
Right.
So, I mean, it'd be cool to go see the Pelicans play, too, and watch, like, Zion or whatever. Go watch Damian Lillard, you know what I mean? You probably
Right.
get those tickets for cheap, too.
Well, I mean, that's the problem about being an NBA fan is, like, I could go to every game and find a reason to be excited about anybody. We went to the OKC game last year. I mean, Shea, that was it. And we
great.
yelled at him the whole game.
Screaming at him.
Yeah.
There was nobody in the stadium. Well, there was.
Like,
It wasn't real loud.
All it would take
We
is
were loud.
like a really great player that I admire of complaining to the refs one time, and suddenly I would turn on him like nothing.
Keep on crying,
I got a poster
baby.
of Dame back there. So the new in-season tournament starts it said November 3rd, which is strange. I don't understand how that's all working. And it says we play the 76ers, but that didn't show up on the schedule. And so I'm
Right.
very confused. All of the games count towards the regular season except for the finals. The final 2 teams left to play that final game is not part of the regular season. It would be
Right.
quintessentially the 83rd game, right?
Right.
So that's what I do know about it. But moving on from here, I wanted to do a little rapid fire fun questionnaire for you, right?
Okay. All right, this sounds fun.
Okay, so Will or Kareem?
Will,
Michael or LeBron?
Michael,
Larry or Magic?
Larry,
Scotty or Clay?
Scotty,
Kobe or Shaq?
Kobe.
Belichick or Saban?
Crap, Belichick.
Peyton Pritchard or Grayson Allen?
Pritchard, all day.
Serge Ibaka or Steven Adams?
Ooh, Steven Adams.
Ham and cheese or PB&J?
PB&J.
Pork or chicken?
Chicken.
Finally, beer or liquor?
For weight purposes, liquor.
Forget about weight.
Beer.
Okay, fantastic. Give yourself a hand. All right.
Shit.
I just want to see where your heads are at. So if I was going to do that, I would have picked Wilt also. I would have also picked Michael. I would have picked Larry.
I picked Larry.
Okay, right. I'm sorry. I would have picked Larry. You picked Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
I would have picked Scotty as well. I would have picked Shaq over Kobe because so far my team is a little bit guard heavy. Seems like with Scotty, Larry, and Michael. I know Scotty's a forward, but still, Shaq is just a force. Belichick for Saban. You said Belichick?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like Saban better because there was no question ever that it was the
program.
It was always the program that he ran.
Right. They're both all-time dickheads.
Right, but Belichick, there was always that, is it him or is it Brady? And in the end,
it
was both of them, but it was kind of Brady, too.
I think so.
With that extra one he won.
Yeah, I still think Billy Bill, though. It's the ultimate league.
Peyton Pritchard or Grayson Allen. Peyton Pritchard can hit threes. Grayson Allen can get inside your head with his Dukeness.
I think he's a player on the verge of getting knocked the fuck out. a little Mo Wagner.
I don't disagree with you because I would have picked Peyton Pritchard also. But I actually like Serge Ibaka versus Steven Adams. Shout out both OKC guys. But Serge Ibaka was that. He could everything.
He could stretch. He's a stretch 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah. And he won when he won that championship in Toronto.
Had a lot of blocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, shoot threes. Just had a bad attitude straight off the boat.
I just like Steven Adams.
That's why I made, because I really like Serge Ibaka, but I love Steven Adams. But I think I would just rather have a beer with Steven Adams.
Maybe. Oh, definitely.
But Serge, I think Serge in his prime would have been the perfect guy. I'm with you on the PB&J. I can't do ham. Ham's not. There's just nothing great about it.
I mean, they're all right. I got to be in the mood for it.
Like, I never understood why you had to have ham on either Thanksgiving or Christmas. Why couldn't you just do turkey both times? Because turkey's better. You don't have to.
I like ham. I love ham. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'd rather have ham over turkey, to be honest with you.
But pork over chicken?
Yeah. No. Chicken.
Chicken?
Yeah, chicken's more versatile.
Chicken is more versatile, but pork's got more fat and more flavor.
Again, I guess it's all circumstantial.
Well, I mean, it is. It's based on
I think
what
chicken,
you want.
just because I eat chicken more and I cook my recipe book inside my head,
we're living in
is way bigger than.
We're living in the same world that you can drink beer over liquor and it doesn't affect your health.
It's still chicken.
Still chicken, okay? Because I'm going beer too.
Yeah.
In any world. First game of the season is October 28th versus the Bulls. So if you want to check that out, Monday, November 20th is you get to see Jokic. He comes to town.
All right, later.
All right, Frankie.
Got the lights.